Maharaj lived for another 4 years more uh, in our division. And at that time in 2006, we were not so much aware of the importance of this sloka, honestly speaking, because we didn't know that Maharaj will insist on this particular sloka so much towards the last days also. Um, of his Satyapura. So there are two things. This particular lecture was given in 2006 when Maharaj's health was much better. And also the article which Grace Vaidyanti Mataji had shared some about a month ago or so, a few weeks ago, that was some snippet from the final days of Maharaj in this world. So during his stay in Bhaktivedanta Hospital, Maharaj encouraged us to go through this verse again and again, learn it by heart. Uh, that from that perspective, he wanted. There is another mode also. In fact, not only this particular clipping or the short transcription piece that Mataji has sent, but even in Nashik when he was with the devotees, in the hospital or anywhere else during that 2 months of stay, Maharaj is always coming back to this particular verse. Because in one way, if you see, this verse is the fulcrum of the whole Bhagavatam. Uh, as Narada Muni is instructing, the entire chapter he was giving the instructions, and he's coming to this point where he's therefore, please therefore, display the Almighty Lord's unlimited activities, and for this will just like that. Anybody would like to share the screen for others who don't have book? Please go ahead and share this in 540. Please therefore describe the Almighty Lord's activities which you have learned by your vast knowledge of the Vedas, for that will satisfy the hankerings of great learned men and at the same time mitigate the miseries of the masses of common people who are always suffering from material pangs. Indeed, there is no other way to get out of such miseries. This is the thing that Maharaj always highlighted. And we discussed about the four kinds of good people or four kinds of bad people in our last two weeks ago also. So let's recite this verse. If anybody would like to recite this verse, and then we'll proceed with reading through those two articles to understand it. Anybody would like to recite this sloka? Swama Padabhra sloka?
I will recite.
Go ahead, please. It's not on the screen. You can go ahead and read from your. I don't know who else is sharing the screen.
त्वमपि यदभ्रश्रुत विश्रुतं विभो समाप्यते येन विदाम्बुवोत्सितं प्राख्याहि दुःखैर्मुहुर्दितात्मनां संक्लेशनिर्वाणमुशन्ति नान्यथा.
Very interesting. So here, Adabra Shruta, a very interesting word, Adabra Shruta. Before we go into those articles, let's try to meditate a little bit on these words. Adabra Shruta and Vishrutam. You have studied also, you have heard also. And Adabra means unlimited. It's for us, reading one book, either Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, takes so much time and energy, right? We are not able to uh, consolidate the thing from the different sections of one book itself. But you see, Vyasadeva had done unlimited book study of unlimited books. So definitely he has a better clarity on our life, our who are we, what do we do, and all those things. He definitely has a better clarity. And one of the important things, we always focus on those who are suffering in this material world, isn't it? Like those who are dukkha ardita atmana, dukkha mukura ardita atmana. Always we tend to give more importance to those who are suffering, maybe because of health or health or relationship issues, or say something else which bothers them, that they are in need of, and they are not getting those basic needs. But there is also this other side of thing where people who are learned, they also have hankerings. Those they might be satisfied with the wealth, health, and etc. All those people around them, whatever. But even then, they will not be satisfied. That is the beautiful point here. Even then, the thing is, they are samarthitena vidam ubhutsitam. Ubhutsitam means those who are always desire. See, beautiful word Prabhupada has given. Ubhusitam means who always desire to learn transcendental knowledge. Here, this is Prabhupada is not talking, or Krishna, Narada Muni is not talking about mundane knowledge here. He is talking about the transcendental knowledge. So that is very important to understand the difference between these two, because people who are having the vast knowledge of the mundane world also, uh, they what is the problem there? They will feel that they, for a moment, they will be thinking that, oh, I am learned, I am knowledgeable, etc. But when they go and see someone else who is more materially learned than them, naturally their the thing goes down, their happiness goes down, and then envy crops up, competitive spirit crops up, all these things comes up. But on the other hand, in the spiritual side, you always see that when somebody is in the process of learning, and you see that another person is more learned than us, naturally the happiness section for a pure-hearted person, of course, uh, happiness sets or joy sets in. More than happiness, we have to use the word joy. The joy sets in. He becomes very cheerful, right? He becomes very cheerful when seeing someone sharing more knowledge or be more learned. And that is the important criteria of differentiation between spiritual knowledge and mundane knowledge. Okay, that is very important. I see Piyush Prabhu always has some chat points. Material knowledge always relative versus spiritual knowledge is very true, Prabhu. And that is one of the prime reason why spiritual knowledge gives us satisfaction. And especially the reason spiritual knowledge gives us satisfaction is because there is Krishna. Tangibly, we can experience Krishna in there. Provided we are more advanced, we can experience Krishna in other knowledge also. But if until the point we become mature to reach the point that everything in this world is an expansion of Krishna, at least in the spiritual, the transcendental topics, we will be able to. Transcendental topics, we will be able to uh, experience Krishna. That is the reason there is always this hankering for this conception and this knowledge. Whenever we get, it gives the knowledgeable men the satisfaction. And we hear something about Krishna, we feel satisfied. When we hear something about devotional service, we feel satisfied. When we feel something about how to serve others, we feel satisfied. So these are all knowledge. I just read one very beautiful line by Prabhupada yesterday, I think. It's a very, very beautiful point. I will try to find out. Um, can you go to 4:26:7? I don't know who is sharing the screen today. Looks like nobody is doing it. If I have to do it, I will not be able to share. I will not be able to read from the book. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I joined from computer and share. Just give me a second.
And
Prabhu, I will give it to me.
Sharing the screen. So
Yeah. 426.7, no, Prabhu?
426.7.
Yeah.
A nice line there. I somehow found it to be very interesting.
You make me a host, I will try to share.
Sorry?
Can you make me a host, then I can share? Or
No, 426.7. 426.7.
yeah, but sharing,
No, don't worry. I will do it.
sharing please give how can I share now? I opened this.
Yeah. Please do. Can you share? I'm sharing otherwise.
मैंने प्रभु शेयर किया मैंने.
I'm not seeing. Now it is coming.
It's someone.
I have shared
Yes.
though.
Yeah, now I can see, bro. Yeah, 426.7. You can scroll down a bit. And the main thing is the beautiful thing that the translation is very nice. Narada is speaking to Kṛṣṇa Dāsa. He's telling, Narada continued to speak to Kṛṣṇa Dāsa. My dear king, any person who works according to the directions, Prabhu, you are not scrolling up. Not seeing the translation. You're seeing the verse.
Yes, Prabhu.
Not moving, Prabhu.
No, okay. Translation.
Now it is. Yeah. You want to read, Prabhu?
Yeah. Translation. Narada Muni continued to speak to King Kalacakra. My dear king, any person who works according to the directions of the Vedic scriptures does not become involved in fruitive activities.
This is very interesting. This is the reason we want to have the knowledge of the Vedic scriptures and what to do, what not to do, etc., etc., and also about Krishna. Vedic scriptures involve both how we should do our duties and also about Krishna. So both are equally important for us, right? So here, if you come down, it's a very interesting thing. The one who enjoys his senses under the Vedic regulatory principles. Very interesting statements from there. Can you read it, Prabhu?
Yeah. One who enjoys his senses under the Vedic regulatory principles does not become entangled in the actions and reactions of his activities. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 3.9, Yajnarhat Karmanaha.
Yajnarhat Karmanaha.
Karmana. One should act only for the performance of yajna or to satisfy the Lord Vishnu.
Anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana.
Karma bandhana. Otherwise, any action will produce a reaction by which the living entity will be bound. A human being is especially meant to attain liberation from the bondage of birth and death, old age and disease. He is therefore directed by the Vedic regulatory principles to work in such a way that he may fulfill his desires for sense gratification and at the same time gradually become freed from material bondage. Action according to such principles is called knowledge. Indeed, the word Veda means knowledge. The words Jnanena Lipyate indicate that by following the Vedic principles, one does not become involved in the actions and reactions of his fruitive activity.
So in one way, if you see this paragraph so nicely, action according to such principles is called knowledge. That line really attracted me, attracted my attention. Here, knowledge is related to the action which we do. It's not simply the knowledge or some learning that we have. At the end of the day, the knowledge has to translate into action.
Yeah.
You see, so that is exactly where it is very interesting that Narada is insisting Vyasadeva to satisfy the hankerings of the learned men to give them that knowledge, so that that knowledge will in turn result into action. So ultimately, at the end of the day, knowledge is meaningful only when there is an action, isn't it? I may have, say, the best knowledge about, of say, some subjects in this world. Unless and until I teach it or I use that knowledge to create something which is useful for others, it's of no use. Or I use that knowledge to improve my behavioral pattern, how will it be of any use? So that's why here Prabhupada has really made a very succinct and powerful statement. Action according to such principles is called knowledge. So when somebody is saying, I know all the Vedic Shastras, I learned, etc., 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 are you living by it? Is your action following that? Otherwise, it's a big zero. And those who are acting according to that knowledge, for them, jnana nasalipyate. Their their actions do not lead to reactions of his activities. So this is exactly what Narada Muni is asking Vyasadeva to do. Because in the last 4 verses, he told about how the karma that which we do should be done in such a way that it does not create more reactions, correct? More actions and reactions. Remember, that's what he was telling, the cutting the tree of karma. By using the karma only, you should cut the tree of karma. How do you do that? By offering all the karma and the results, everything to the Supreme Lord Krishna. You do it in such a way that you are doing it for Krishna, then those actions will not lead to reactions. More and more reactions, counteractions, etc., etc. And this has to be taught to the wider people wider public who is always suffering because they don't know how to stop the reactions. They want Vyasadeva, Narada Muni, or Vedas never recommend us to stop the work. It only asks us to do the work in the right mood, in the right way. You see, and that is where the entire all these scriptures are written. Right now, if you come to this knowledge is the hankering for the knowledge is a very interesting point. If you come to 1,540, right? This samapyate, the satisfaction. See, it's very interesting because those who are hankering after transcendental knowledge are also hankering, or they are also agitated until they get the transcendental knowledge. They will not be able to be satisfied. That is why Bhagavatam is very, very, very important because in one way, if you see, Yadyad acharati shreshtas tattva deve itaro janaha. You say that, correct? So, Acharati Shreshtas means those who are already having the hankering, they already accepted that Supreme Absolute Truth is there. They are theistic people. So such people, those who are theistic, they don't have to be taught about all these things from the beginning. But then these people, by their behavior, by their contact, they will teach others. They will set the standard for others to follow. Nowadays, we see so many people just set standards, but those people are not good. They have ulterior motives. They are not clean-hearted people. But then there are so many innocent people, ignorant people. They just take them for granted and they follow them as the leaders, isn't it? And that is the most painful and pathetic situation in this world right now. People are looking for solutions, but very rarely there are somebody who gives the right solution. Yes or no?
Yes.
You agree with me, right? Because all the time you see people moving around here and there. Somebody is telling you, come here, I will give you some mantra, you give money, it will be all right. Somebody is saying, you do this for 11 days, you'll be all right. And somebody is saying, you come, I will I will tell you the future and you give me this much money. And so much so that I am so much surprised, Prabhu's Mataji, that after many, many years in Krishna consciousness, I'm telling you this reality because I've just encountered some of my good friends actually, very nice devotees. But unfortunately, after 2, 3 decades in Krishna consciousness, they are going after some method, this method, that stone, some stick, and this and that, and all that to correct something. Some this was to all so many different things. But the thing is, we are not against these science. So sciences are also having some definitely some meaning, sense, whatever. But then what is become so much absorbed in it that they are willing to spend some lakhs and lakhs of money to fix those things. And they are so much disturbed about, oh, this has to be there, that has to be there, etc., etc. It is so painful to see that instead of spending some good time reading Bhagavatam, because this Bhagavatam was written to mainly these two purposes. One is to satisfy the hankerings of the knowledgeable persons. Another is to solve the problems or the sufferings of the common people who are again and again going into dukkha by the repeated repeated desire for sanctification. Both kinds of people are there. But if the knowledgeable people somehow or other get their hankerings satisfied, then they can set the standard for the other. They can educate the others, isn't it? When the people who are knowledgeable, if they get to know that, hey, this is the ultimate satisfaction. Otherwise, they will go to every single shastra, this, that, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, they will not be satisfied at all. Whereas, when you come to Bhagavatam, after this, you don't have to go anywhere else. Kimva Parayishwaraha. Srimad Bhagavate Mahamani Krute Kimva Parayishwaraha. This shastra was written so that after this, you don't have to go anywhere. After this, you don't have to do anything. You will essentially will feel that everything is coming from here. Just like devotees may go to different devatas before coming to Krishna consciousness. There is always in India that is bound to be there. Some Mata is there, some um, uh, so some Mata Devi is there, some Lord Shiva's temples are there, some Ganesh is there. So many different devatas are there. After going through all these places, when we come to Krishna consciousness, take up Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and these other books, engage in the seva, it's very difficult for us to go to anywhere else. Even if we go somewhere else, what is our our normal approach? Is that oh, they are servants of Krishna, so we just go and pray to them. Please give us Krishna Bhakti, right? So that is something which is very important for us to know. Similarly, you go to anywhere else, so many different shastra, but once you come to Bhagavatam, you will not need Kimva Parayishwara. Why is there need for any other scriptures? He's asking. And this is Vyasadeva was writing after writing those Mangalacharans. He writes after compiling this whole thing together. So the real taste of Bhagavatam is experienced when you don't feel the need for any other scriptures. That's the important thing to know. When we are talking about scriptures, we are not talking physically about some scripture. Like this scripture is not needed, that scripture is not like that. We are not talking about a physical book, but it's the Bhagavatam principle, Bhagavad Gita way. In fact, I was yesterday reading Chaitanya Charitamrita and somewhere, was it Kalacakra Kṛṣṇa himself is saying this, I think, in one of the episodes. He's saying that when I am compiling this thing, people are all criticizing me that why are you compiling this Shastra with so many Sanskrit shlokas? Because there is a lot of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam shlokas, so many are quoted there in between. So Then he's saying nicely that see, this is actually some slokas are only Sanskrit, most of them are Bengali. So if people are asking questions for some slokas, Sanskrit slokas within an entire scripture, how much more they will say when the entire Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita are full of Sanskrit slokas? They will not even be able to take it. So that is why actually when you say Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, everything is included because it is all it's all when you say Bhagavatam set like that, you don't say specifically fourth canto, fifth canto like that. Entire book sets is a Bhagavatam like that. You include anything that is propagating Bhagavad principle is Bhagavatam. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is also Bhagavatam. So nectar of devotion, nectar of instruction is also Bhagavatam. So all these put together are all Bhagavatam books, Bhagavata Shastra. Okay. Once you come here, there's nowhere to go anywhere else. There is no need to go anywhere else. That's the most important thing we should understand. So when knowledgeable people are satisfied, their hankering is satisfied, then it is much easier to set the tone for the rest of the people because they generally follow whatever the knowledgeable people say or set the standards, right? Even for us, many times what happens, like we don't know many times what happens, but then some people, influential people, they set the standard. It is like this, it is like that. Then everybody follows that. Isn't it true? That is always the case, most of us, right? So I see one question from Prabhu, Piyush Prabhu. Doing activities as per scriptures is karma and opposite to scripture is vikarma. Both entangles us, so we have to do akarma, which do not bind us. Here it is mentioned that when we do karma as per scriptures, we are not entangled. So how to understand? Prabhu, don't you think Bhagavad Gita is a scripture? Bhagavad Gita is a authorized scripture, right? Krishna himself has spoken. And Krishna says, Vedesha sarve rahameva vedya. So whatever is coming out of Lord Krishna's mouth is Veda only, is scriptures only. So did we not read this sloka yajna tat karmanaha anyatra lokaya karma bandhanaha? So whatever activity you do it as an offering to Krishna, then it doesn't bind you. Whatever you do, anyatra lokoyam karmabandhanaha. All others who are not doing it for the satisfaction of Krishna and doing it for their own enjoyment only, they are bound by the. So we follow the scriptures and do it accordingly. Krishna doesn't say don't enjoy. Krishna says you give it to me and take it as my prasadam and enjoy. If that way Krishna was doing, he should say that you just make all the offerings and don't eat anything. I will take all the prasadam. He never does that. Just like you're offering the bhoga and take it as Mahaprasadam, anything that we bring to our home, we offer it to Krishna and take it as Mahaprasadam. Anything that we are in our home, everything that we offer to Krishna, and then we enjoy. That is even more tasty. That's how we get out of the entanglement of the actions and reactions. Does it help, Piyush Prabhu? So that is what here, when he says scripture, he's not talking about just the Vedas only. He's talking about the entire principle of Bhagavatam. Help, Prabhu?
Okay. I am actually confused that in this they are saying that only the karma part only doing sense gratification as per scriptures.
No. That is why when it comes to Bhagavatam, it is very clear. It doesn't talk about only karma kanda. It talks about doing the karma according to the principles, Bhagavadiya principles.
Yes, Prabhuji. Okay.
So here this important thing is samapyate, satisfied. Samapyate vidam bubudsitam. Learned people. Vidam means learned people, and bubudsitam, who always desire to learn transcendental knowledge. This is a very important thing. It is not that somebody who is a pandit, who is extreme, a very great scholar. No, it's not talking about that kind of people. Anybody who is having the hankering to learn about Krishna, learn more about the transcendental knowledge, they are Bhubhusitam actually. Who always desire to learn transcendental knowledge. We all are Bhubhusitam in that way. We may fall between this category and that category. Sometimes may get into the Muhuradhitatmanam also. But predominantly we are in this category because we are satisfied. We are not hankering after all the things in this world. Today, suppose if somebody next to our home builds a very big bungalow, we will not be hankering after a bungalow like that. They are very happy to go to a bigger bungalow, like say you have the Delhi temple, Mumbai temple, Pune temple, or any of the other temples that we have around Rajkot temple. All the so many different temples we have all over India, right? We go to that big bungalow, which is our father's bungalow. Our Supreme Father's bungalow is for everybody, open to everybody, right? If I go to the next door neighbor's bungalow, when he tells us to go, we have to go. But if you go to our Supreme Father's bungalow, or I mean, I meant to say our temples, nobody is going to say leave the place, right? They will say, "Oh, you are doing seva, please continue to say seva." As long as we are submissively doing the services, nobody will kick us out. Or submissively helping others, nobody will kick us out. So this is the real thing that we should understand from this thing, So samatite yena idam ubhusitam. So we are not hankering. That is simplicity. We are not hankering after I want all this wealth, I want all that. We don't need to have those angles. What are we? Because the very first message of Bhagavatam is that what are we going to do with all the wealth? What are we going to do with all the facilities and opulences and everything? Unless we use it in the service of Krishna and the devotees, it will not give us the real uh, happiness. Mhm. So this very important thing here. One is talking about the learned people and satisfying the hankering of the learned people. Another is to solve the problems of the people who are ignorant and repeatedly getting into suffering again and again by their bad deeds or by being pulled into doing some bad deeds to others or whatever. And that is where we saw these four kind of people, where Prabhupada is highlighting this point very nicely, that those Naradamas and Maya Pakrita and all those people, they are he specifically refers to each one of them as suffering the misery, suffering the misery, suffering the miseries. Remember, we read that 2, 3 weeks ago. Can you go to that second paragraph of the purport, Prabhu? It's a nice this thing in 1540. Prabhu. So can you go down? Scroll down.
1540 or the same? 4620
1540, Prabhu. No. 426 27. I wanted to show you that important line. But here, the second paragraph in 1540, if you read, is four types of people who Prabhupada has beautifully highlighted. Read that again.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, please, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
As far as the bad men are concerned, they are also four in numbers. One, those who are simply addicted to the mode of progressive fruitive works and thus are subjected to accompanying miseries.
See, this is the first thing. 1 minute, Prabhu. This is cheap. Each of these are those four types of people who Krishna is referring them, right? He's referring to the four Maya, Apahruta Jnana, Naradama, all those four kinds of people there are there, right? You see how Prabhupada is adding this point, accompanying mysteries that are subjected to accompanying mysteries. He is not seeing them as bad people. He's seeing them as people who are doing bad deeds inadvertently or wantedly, whatever it is, but at the end of the day, they are suffering. And this is where Prabhupada is showing a very, very key important point here. We should be Karunaya Aha Purana Visyam. We should do this, distribute this Bhagavatam out of compassion for the suffering people. Both the people who are well off also are suffering. Those who are not having anything, they are also suffering. And those who are bad, with bad thoughts, they are also suffering. So please read those 4 points again from second onwards.
Point number 2. Those who are simply addicted to vicious work for sense satisfaction and so suffer the consequence.
Again suffering the consequence. Third one.
Those who are materially very much advanced in knowledge, but who suffer because they do not have the sense of acknowledge the authority of the Almighty Lord.
See, again, they suffer because they have not acknowledged the sense of authority. Lord. Fourth.
The class of men who are known as atheists and who therefore purposely hate the very name of God, although they are always in difficulty.
Again, they are always in difficulty. All these poor people, frankly speaking, Prabhu's Mataji, if you look into this four kind of people now, in our lives, we will not get compassion towards them. They are not people who deserve our compassion, frankly speaking. We like to show compassion to someone who got his hand or leg injured on the way, fall down and injured, or somebody who is having financial difficulty, somebody is having family related difficulty, etc., etc. But we are compassionate toward those, like say for example, some people like the Bin Laden kind of people, or some terrorists who are killing others, or or maybe some people who are cheating others financially. We are not having compassion towards them, right? But what Bhagavatam says here is that Prabhupada is highlighting this point that this Muhurardita Atmana, these people are also Muhurardita Atmana. But unfortunately, we don't have that mind to show the compassion to these people. So what Prabhupada is in effect telling is, excuse me, if you can show compassion to these people, Naradamas and Maya Pakadajnanas and Asuri Bhavamashitahas, these people, then you can show compassion to anybody. Is that true? Isn't that true?
Yes, yes,
Sir, the
Prabhu.
people
But,
whom we
but Prabhu,
hate.
I have one question, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Just I have one
Yes,
question,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji. You know, if you read the first bad man, definition, those who are simply addicted to the mode of progressive fruitive work and thus are subjected to the accompanying miseries. I mean, Prabhupada would have told they are subjected to the miseries. But what is the meaning of this accompanying miseries?
Because when you do an activity, naturally you get the accompanying buy one get one free message now.
Right.
So miseries does not come independently, Prabhu. Miseries are always always a result of our karmas. No
Correct.
miseries come on its own. Miseries are a result of our karmic activities, our karmic thoughts, and so on. Right?
Correct.
So that is why when you are doing mode of progressive fruitive work, I want to do more and more and more and more and more and more. Like that, when we keep on going in a hankering mode, then naturally the miseries accompany. Greed
Understood,
and
Prabhuji.
hankering. That is where these are each one of them. Even if somebody does something wantedly, some harm they want to do to others, that also they suffer the react. So here, what Prabhupada is saying is that, see, it's very easy to tell somebody who is suffering from, say, some health issue or something, you is hospitalized. You can tell him, please chant Rama's name 11 times, please chant Hare Krishna mantra 108 times, like that. They would do. Many of them do. Not all, may not be all, but most of them will do. Right? And at that time, you tell them that, oh, I've got prasadam from Vrindavan, I've got prasadam from Tirupati, I have got prasadam from, say, Puri, etc. Even if they don't have the tendency to go to the temples, they will still take it and put it because they want their health thing to improve.
Correct. Correct.
Our financial thing to improve. Correct. Yeah.
But then,
Yes.
Prajina, what is the difference between the point number 1 and point number 2? There must be some difference, but I am not able to understand. Because the point number 1 says about a person who is hankering for the fruitive work, correct, Prajina?
Yeah,
and this fruitive work, progressive fruitive hankering, fruitive works, and this progressive fruitive work, somebody is hankering because of the sense gratification, correct, Prajina? Otherwise, why he should, anybody should go for the fruitive work. But then again, Prabhupada again gives a definition in the point number 2 that he says simply addicted to the vicious work for sense gratification, sense satisfaction. So, what is the difference between this point 1 and point 2, Prabhuji? If you can just elaborate.
The point one is more of like, see, I want to become great. I want to become more powerful. I want to become financially great and some powerful person in this world, or all facilities, opulence, everything like that. They are. But the second people is simply addicted to vicious one. Means they like to do something harm to others. Vice, basically. You understand? Wise means they don't like people to, they don't like others growing, so they want to go and do some criticism of them, or they want to put others down, or do something that will harm the other person's progress, etc. So it is a vice actually. Vice means it is bad activities. That is second point. First point is you don't harm others, but you want to enjoy yourself. You want to become great yourself.
Okay.
So in that process,
so the first point is basically, the first point is basically about a person who is trying to, who is more focused for his own development and own sense gratification.
Yes.
And the second belongs to the category that he wants to develop his own, but also in the process will hamper and disturb others also.
Yeah, they may also be those who get sense satisfaction or enjoyment by disturbing others. They don't like others to grow. So they want to see others to suffer, and by that process they are by that process they want to take enjoyment. But in result, actually they are also suffering.
Correct. Understood, Prabhu.
Right? Got it, Prabhu? Now, please, Prabhu is asking one more question here. Actually, learned men are also suffering from the miseries, not only ignorant people. Therefore, they are hankering to knowledge to address their suffering. But the result is they are unable to mitigate their miseries, which result in their unsatisfaction. I'm not able to understand this question. Knowledge. No, actually, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, please clarify.
Yes, Prabhuji, I am thinking that not only ignorant people are suffering in this world, actually. So they are also learned men are also suffering.
Yes, that's what this verse says. No, 1540, that's what it says.
So they are hankering for the knowledge.
Yeah. Because that, Prabhu, that is why, Prabhu, we think that if a roti kapda makan is taken care of, we will be happy. The food, clothing, shelter is taken care of, we will be happy. That's what we say. We have enough money in the bank balance. We have all food and everything is available. Then I'm happy.
Yes.
Right. But when we see this whole world, even those who are so much of Arab kind of millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires, they are also not happy.
Yes.
They are also suffering. This is from a mental point of view, right?
Yes.
You take the greatest learned people also, those who are philosophers, etc., etc. But except Krishna, they are having knowledge of everything else. They will also suffer because the final finishing point for Krishna is not there.
Yes,
The rounding point Krishna is not there. So when Krishna is not there, the whole world's knowledge you may have, still you will feel something short. You understand?
Yes.
So that suffering, Prabhu, it's at a mental level. Even of course the other sufferings also they will have mental level, but they are very low, roti kapda makan level sufferings. Here they will have all the dress in the world, all the cars, and at the flick of a finger they will get so many people at their service, etc. But they also will be dissatisfied. You see, we were reading last week for Gaur Purnima, Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Goswami, and all these great personalities who were so rich, so filthy rich actually. They had everything at their disposal. The king himself was fully dependent on them. Whatever they wanted, he was ready to give. But only thing is that he would not give his leave from the job. But they were also having dissatisfaction. And they came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and finally they felt very satisfied by renouncing everything in this world. You got it? I read a beautiful line, Prabhu. Prabhupada has written this very beautiful line in this one part. I share it on. First knowledge comes, then detachment comes. Very beautiful thing that Prabhupada highlighted there. Just give me one sec.
Prabhu, most of us, we are in category number 1.
Which one, Prabhu? That fruitive activity
Category
and progressive fruitive activity.
Category 1, we are in category 1.
Yeah, maybe you can say that. Yeah, we don't necessarily want to bother others, and it's also there too. One sec, Prabhu. I'll just get this beautiful point.
I can share the screen if Suresh Prabhu stops sharing.
Yeah, you can go ahead and share, Mataji. It doesn't have to stop. You can go ahead and share.
Thank you, Mataji.
See, 425.7. Very beautiful. Very beautiful point. 425.7. Very beautiful lines from the purport. To come down, 3 of the purport. Okay, sorry with the translation. To come down, where does it start? Narada Muni wanted to instruct the king. In the purport. Yes. See, here, if you see, from there you can start reading. Somebody can start reading. Very beautiful lines that Prabhupada has written for.
Can I, Prabhu?
Please, Mataji.
Yeah. Narad Muni wanted to instruct the king about the real purpose of life and invoke a spirit of renunciation in his heart. Knowledge and the spirit of
renunciation has to sprout in our heart. Okay, but it will not come on its own. See how Prabhupada is relating these two things. Please continue, Mataji.
knowledge and the spirit of renunciation, jnana, vairagya, are ultimate goal of life. Without knowledge, one cannot become detached from material enjoyment, and without being detached from material enjoyment, one cannot make spiritual advancement.
See, this is such a nice sequence, you see. This is very important to note. Prabhupada many times will say love of God it is the ultimate goal of life, etc. But here you see what he is saying. Knowledge and the spirit of renunciation are the ultimate goal of life. Means without these two, we cannot do devotional service properly. Right? And only for, that is why in that verse also, Vasudevi Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yad Ahaitukam. Right? So this Jnana and Vairagya, Jnana Vairagya Ittaya, Pashyanti Atmani Chatmana Bhakti Ashruta Grihitaya, that Tachshraddaya Danamunayo, Jnana Vairagya Ittaya, Pashyanti Atmani Chatmana Bhakti Ashruta Grihitaya. See, this Jnana of the world should come. When the hankering for transcendental knowledge is there, when that hankering is fulfilled, and that knowledge will lead to renunciation. We simply not without knowledge you will not get renunciation. You understand? When what is knowledge means this world is temporary, everything is transient. This body will die, and whatever I am gaining will all just go away. So I should utilize my life to the best of my ability. Every second I should utilize properly. So these are all the knowledge that we are talking about. Knowledge does not mean how many planets are there, how many universes are there, this planet's name is this, that planet. That's all information overload. Real knowledge means jnana. Jnana means understand what this body is, understand how temporary it is, what is the real thing inside the body, what is making this body move. These are all the inquisitive questions one asks. These are all the hankering, the people who are hankering for knowledge, they will ask these questions. They will want to sit and discuss for hours together about these points. So that that jnana will lead to vairagya, naturally. You got the point? You are talking about simplicity. How will you be simple without having the knowledge?
Yes.
There are some people who may not have the knowledge of anything, but they will be simple. That's very rare in very rare cases. Those who are innocent by nature, very rare cases. But most of us are not like that. No? Everybody will have sense enjoyment. Everybody wants sense enjoyment, and we all think that sense enjoyment is good only. But when we see that every sense enjoyment is followed by distress, followed by unhappiness, then we will ask the question, isn't it? Why every time I'm trying to enjoy, I am suffering? That question should lead to looking for knowledge, transcendental knowledge. And when the transcendental knowledge is given, that's what Narada is telling here. See, people are all suffering because they want to enjoy independent of Krishna. What Krishna is telling is that you enjoy with me. You come enjoy with me. You give it to me, and then I will give it back to you, and then you will enjoy even more. So if you do it as an offering to me, then that is knowledge. If you do it as an offering unto Krishna, then you will stop suffering. That is the knowledge. So that knowledge, when these people who are hankering after the transcendental knowledge, if they get to know more and more and more, initially it will start off like this. Later we will start to hear more and more about Krishna's transcendental qualities, his beautiful pastimes, and his nature, and etc. etc. Then it will increase our attachment to Krishna, and naturally the Vairagya will come. You got the point? Anybody who is attached to Harikatha, they naturally they develop a Vairagya. How is that Vairagya? Are we externally and explicitly, or we are trying to cultivate renunciation? It naturally comes, isn't it? We are not so much attached to our money. We want to offer our Lakshmi to someone for the seva. And when somebody is distributing prasadam or something, we want to go and do some seva there. So that seva bhav is coming out of our knowledge and renunciation attitude. That is why Prabhupada is so beautifully telling here. Without knowledge, one cannot become detached from material enjoyment. Bhayam tatva avamarshana. Bhayam tatva avamarshana. That is a beautiful line. We are all having the fear. When you don't have a knowledge of something, you are afraid of that thing, isn't it? Suppose I have a phone. I don't know how to operate it. When some call or something comes, I don't know how to do. Or if I cannot cut the phone, or I don't know. I don't know how to use the WhatsApp say. If somebody is sending message and I'm sending some response, and that message is wrongly I send it, I don't know how to delete it from the to reach them. So I feel afraid. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know how he sent this message. How can I tell this person, that person? If you know, if you have the knowledge that hey, just you just delete for everyone and it will be deleted, right? Then you will not be agitated. You will not be disturbed. So simple things like the knowledge that we talk about here, expounded to the transcendental knowledge. When we have the transcendental knowledge, talking about Krishna, then you will not have the fear at all. Everything, the knowledge of everything is encompassed within Krishna, knowledge of Krishna. So, because, like, say, for example, you want to know something, then you know that everything is coming from Krishna. So, you will not be agitated. The satisfaction we get by knowing about Krishna fulfills the dissatisfaction or hankering of all other lower level knowledge. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because this is untouched by the three modes, Prabhu's Mataji. This is the most important thing we should understand. All the time we are suffering from the influence of the three modes. And Krishna and the subject matters related to him are the only subject matter that is beyond the three modes. That is why in the second verse he is saying, Vyasdev is telling, what is that? Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatraya unmulanam. This tapatraya unmulanam is the most key word here. Every single word is so nicely coined together. See, tapatraya, three modes. Unmulanam. We are constantly struggling and suffering from the three modes. And Unmulanam means it takes us out from the gutter of the three modes. Under the three modes, I will be talking away. He is great, he is small, he is good, he is bad, he is friend, he is enemy, etc. etc. All those Dvandva Moha, say Dvandva Moha Nirmukta. No? That Dvandva Moha will be there until and unless I am absorbed in the transcendental knowledge. When I just step back and say, hey, Krishna is making these people act. So there is no good or bad. Both of them are directed by Krishna. It is that the three modes are making them look like they are good. The three modes that is making this person look like they are bad. And one day he'll be good or he'll be bad. Another day he'll be bad, he'll be good. So that is how mind constantly, it ultimately, again, it goes back to this knowledge that if you have this knowledge that is, yeah, everything is finally a product of our mind, material mind. It's the material mind that is creating friends and enemies. Then we are completely say, hey, I found out the real problem. Now I have to fix the problem. That's all. It's like when you are coding, you find the bug is reported by the testing team, and you are a developer. Say, you'll be so happy the moment you find that the problem and where exactly that problem is. You know where how to fix it. Once you find where the problem is, you know how to fix it, isn't it? So that is how this transcendental thing helps us, because we are all struggling because one person is doing something good in that in being influenced by the three modes. Another person is doing bad, being influenced by three modes, and I am judging these two people being influenced by three modes. While I am seeing the two people being engaged in three modes, I don't see that I am also in the modes. When I have the knowledge, then I say I am also suffering from the three modes. That is why I am looking at this person as bad and that person is good. Actually, both of them are good. Only the actions are bad. This is knowledge. When you get this knowledge, then your hankering will stop, because here Krishna is involved in it. You understand? Tapatraya Unmulanam. When you are talking, when you are simply reading Bhagavatam, it automatically takes us, picks us out of the three modes, the gutter of the three modes. You will be so happy when you have come out of the suffering. So this is the real suffering that we have. Without knowledge, they're constantly going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. These about what is good, what is bad, all this dvandva moha. Continuously it's saying. That's why yesham antagatam papam jananam punya karmana te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dadavrata. So this knowledge helps us do bhajan properly, without hindrance, without any contaminations. That kuyogi, that avipakwa, kashaya, and all was there, no? So that is how it helps actually. So that is why Krishna also keeps, we will see that in the 6th chapter, he tells that the knowledge which you have cultivated on me, which you have invested on me, I mean to say you learned knowledge about me, that will never be destroyed by the influence of time. So it's very important to know this point. And I see some question again from I think Piyush Prabhu. Is it right to think that first we have knowledge and gradually we realize the knowledge that lead to realization? Like we are not just body. We all know, but we don't realize it as we do bhakti. We realize we are not just body, we are spiritual. Who can be satisfied only in spiritual or with Krishna? So detachment automatically. Prabhuji, it would be good if you put full stops or commas there. Prabhu. Difficult to understand the full question without the punctuation. So we realize we are not just body, we are spirit soul, who can be satisfied only in spiritual world or with Krishna. So detachment automatically comes. So when we realize that we are spirit souls, we are not of this world and we belong to the spiritual world, naturally the detachment comes. So it is the knowledge that comes first, knowledge of the impermanence of this world and the eternality of the other world, and knowledge of ourselves that we are not this material body, we are spirit souls and we are eternal. And these knowledge naturally leads to renunciation, naturally leads to detachment. You are right. Sometimes we may have detachment without knowledge also. Like it just comes, from the past thing, whatever. But when you get the knowledge, hey, these are all the things we should be renounced about. And when you see that you are naturally renounced in these things already, then you will feel happy. Hey, this is knowledge. This is what I have been following so far without knowledge. You understand? Many times it happens, no? So you may have some detachment sometimes, but eventually when the knowledge comes and the knowledge corroborates or supports the detachment thing that which you are doing in relation with Krishna. Earlier you may be detached without connected to Krishna. Even that is also to some extent it is good. Detachment in any form is good. But the best is to detach for Krishna. You understand? So many times people are detached when some temporary detachment will be there when you have the say somebody is cheating us, somebody is something is not working, you may feel, hey, this is all nonsense, man. You feel fed up basically. Say this is not worth it. You feel frustrated and want to give it up. At that time, if you have some knowledge of Krishna, it will help. That is why um, it is always good to hear Harikatha when we have Smashan Vairagya, they say. The 4 or 5 different types of Vairagyas are there. Yeah. 1 second. No? Sorry, bro. So we were talking about the detachment. So that is why when we have Smashan Vairagya, somebody passed away, somebody is leaving the body, whatever. At that time, when we are doing the Harikatha, it is beneficial to them also, and it is beneficial to us also. Because during that Smashan Vairagya, we will have a little bit of detachment, genuine detachment. For momentary detachment will be there. That is why even Hiranyakashipu is doing Harikatha when Hiranyaksha has passed away. He does it to his sister-in-law and mother, right? That is naturally there as part of our Vedic Sanskriti. So it's one thing which is very important. And the same thing with all other kinds of, there are 3 or 4 different types of Vairagyas are there. During that time, we should enhance that Vairagya by having the proper knowledge, transcendental knowledge. Indu Mataji is asking a nice question. Attachment should come with attachment to Krishna, else such attachment is waste. Yes, it is true, Mataji. When we are detached, some little satisfaction will always come, some renunciation. You suppose you give up something, if you have something and you just give up something, you will get little little happiness or satisfaction. But we have to enhance that satisfaction by having attachment to Krishna. It is very important. That is why I said though it will become full when we have the attachment to Krishna. Because what happens is that Prabhupada also says this many times, you should have attachment somewhere. You cannot be completely detached. You cannot be completely desireless. You got it? You cannot be completely desireless. You have to have some desire, but let that desire be towards Krishna. Because our big problem is not the desire itself. The real problem is the failure of the desire. Or the insufficiency or incompleteness of that fulfillment of that desire. Suppose you have a desire, material desire, without Krishna, it is fulfilled. You want some big post, or you want some lot of money, or whatever the usual thing that people have out of facilities, etc. After you get it, also you will be dissatisfied. Why? Because that happiness will stay for only for some time, very momentary, right? You may want to have the best palatial building, but there is some problem that happens in that building, or nobody comes to that building. After you go into the building, nobody comes. You and your dog are the only members there. Then you will again not be satisfied. Like Arjuna was telling the other day, we were discussing. He says that even if I win, what is the use of? I cannot enjoy this victory because my brothers will not be there to take part in that happiness, isn't it? So like that, people want to have all these things because they want some people, some friends, followers, or others to come and spend some time with them, right? But if it is not happening, how will it help? So that is the frustration of the fulfilled desire. Unfulfilled desire, there is no need to do any engineering on it. It's very easy. Any desire that is not fulfilled will again lead to disappointment. Correct? So the problem is not the desire itself, but the result of the desire, which is the result of which is because of our material thing that I want to enjoy. It is for me like that. We ourselves are the self-centered desire. So what purpose is that redirect that same desire for Krishna's pleasure. Don't do it for your pleasure. Just say Krishna, let Krishna be satisfied. Krishna being a loving father, he will not keep all the pleasure himself. If he sees genuinely that hey, this person is doing it for my pleasure, he will give it back to him. He will make him feel more satisfied. You got the point. So what happens is, in the material desire, you may think that, hey, if I have this so and so car, I will be satisfied. I will best of cars, I will be satisfied. Right? Now, this is a desire which is going to give you suffering. Definitely. Even if you get the car or don't get the car, both ways will suffer. Now, if the knowledge comes that this desire is going to lead me to suffering, that knowledge, how it comes? By reading the different characters in Bhagavatam, instructions in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and all these books, they repeatedly give lessons on this detachment, right? Now, when I get that knowledge, my detachment becomes fulfilled. This vairagya becomes fulfilled. And that is why, if you take the verse number 32356, I think we have not discussed it. There is one interesting shloka, Bhoge Roga Bayam, Kule Chuti Bayam, Chitte and Palat Bayam, Mane Dainya Bayam, Bale Ritu Bayam, Rupe Jarayam Bayam. Like that, there are some 7-8 Bayam is there. 32356. Mataji, sorry. 32356. So this Pairagyam, actually, as Sindhi Mataji so nicely pointed out, this verse rounds it off everything. That verse which I quoted just now, it talks about so many different biomes. Those who are beautiful, for them, old age is a source of fear. Those who are wealth, this government officers are a source of fear. Like that, everybody has fear. And that verse ends by saying, Vairagyam evacha abhayam. When you are detachment, then all your bayam fears will be gone. You are detached from all your beauty, your wealth, your knowledge, your opulence and everything, then you will be, your bayam, fear will be gone. But Maharaj always used to say one thing, that verse is incomplete without this verse in Bhagavatam. He says, that verse stops with saying Vairagyam is the only solution for all the fear to go away. Now what Bhagavatam says is that no, Vairagyam is not enough. Nyaya iha yat karma dharmaya. You are doing some action. Your karma leads to your dharma, religion. Now, viragaya kalpate, that you following the religious principles, if it doesn't lead to vairagya. See, here also, dharma is you do it. That knowledge is there. When you have the knowledge, with that you do the dharmic activities, then you get vairagya. Now, viragaya kalpate. If your karma doesn't lead to dharma, if your dharma doesn't lead to vairagya, and if your vairagya doesn't lead to tirthapada sevaya means devotional service. This is the sequence. First, you are starting off with your karma. With your karma, you become religious in your nature. Your character becomes religious. Then that leads to detachment. And if the detachment should lead to devotional service, tirthapada sevaya. If this sequence is not complete, then it's a jiva napi mutavishah. You are living dead. Just like Mataji said, it is no use. Like that, this verse completes the whole thing. So the knowledge of the transcendental knowledge includes the impermanence of this material world and the knowledge of the spiritual world also. Both the knowledges. It's not only about the impermanence of this world alone. That is incomplete. That is the atheistic Sankhya philosophy. Theistic Sankhya philosophy includes the transcendental knowledge about the Nama Rupa Guna Lila of Krishna and the world, the spiritual world and the devotees and relationship between Krishna and devotees and all these things. So that particular knowledge, transcendental knowledge, which these people are hankering for also, and that is the knowledge that will lead to Tirthapada Sevaya. If it doesn't lead to, if your karma doesn't lead to the dharma, if your dharma doesn't lead to vairagya, if your vairagya doesn't lead to bhakti, then you are living dead. So ultimately, as Mataji also rightly pointed out, and it is a real thing, that this is the reason Narada Muni wanted Vyasadeva to write the Bhagavatam. To help those who are having the knowledge also, the hankering for knowledge also, for them also to be satisfied with as well as fulfilling their desire, hankering to know more about Krishna and action easily. And for those who have ignorant people who are again and again getting into the material sufferings, to pick them up from that, and also for them also you have to do this. So in both ways, Bhagavatam helps. Through Harinam Sankirtan, it helps these people who are in the lower side. And through the discussion of the philosophy, the instructions, the Leela, Guna, Nam, Rupa, everything, it helps the higher strata people like those who are Bhuvutsi. And this is the only scripture that can do both. There's no other scripture that can do both. Does that help? Can anyone share any questions or comments? Just with us. So, Induraji, your question is satisfied, right, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, this is Vijaya Sarvada Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, as such, we are speaking about the Vairagya, detachment. So there is a verse in Bhagavad Gita 12.12. So does this verse speaks about the same thing what you're talking about, like, you know, the knowledge, when you get the knowledge, you develop renunciation. That is 12.12. If you cannot, the translation speaks like this. Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
he's
yes.
telling to, if you ever you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, what consciousness of me? Then see, you have to see the whole thing in sequence, Mataji. From 9 verse onwards, yeah, see, 8 verse onwards you should read. Maya Vesha, Mayeva Manadasva, Mayi Buddhi Niveshaya, Nivashisyasi Mayeva, Athavudam na Samsaya. What he's saying is, just fix your mind upon me. This is, you know, those who are completely transcendentally, they are completely convinced about Krishna's supremacy and all the knowledge, they have just fixed their mind on Krishna. And mind and intelligence on it. So they will always live in Krishna. So whatever they do it only for Krishna, like that, completely absorbed. Right? That's the first thing, the topmost thing that which Krishna is telling.
Prabhuji, you're on mute.
I am not on mute. Am I not audible?
Yeah, audible. Hare Krishna.
Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So in the 9th verse, what he is saying, Atachittam samadhatum na shaknoshi mayistira abhyasa yogena tato mamichaptum dhananjaya. What is saying, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, sometimes your mind is going here and there, then follow the regulatory principles. Means, do the chanting, do the seva, do the deity worship, or do, you know, whatever services that are to do that. So that eventually you will come to, your mind will be fully fixed on me. Because those whose mind cannot be fixed during chanting or whatever, they may want to do some seva. But so by doing more and more seva, we will get more taste for chanting. Right?
Yes,
like that, so you follow the regulatory principles of Bhakti. Means regulatory principles means follow the 4 principles, no meat eating, no all those kind of things should be do that. So yeah, getting up early in the morning, as Prabhupada gives in the purpose, get up early in the morning, offer chanting, go to the temple or do at your own home, to offer some things to the paraphernalia, to the deity, take the service. These are also regulatory principles. Now he says, even if you are not able to do that, then he says, okay, you don't have time for doing puja, you don't have time for doing chanting, etc. Then he says, in the next sloka, 10th sloka, he says, Abhyase prasamatosi matkarma paramobhava madartamapi karmani urvan siddhim avapsisi. Okay. If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga also, then just say to it works for me. You go to office, you go to school, or you go anywhere else, do business, whatever, you just try to work for me. You will then come to the perfect state. Then next stage is saying even further. If you are unable to work in this conscience of me, like you are going to work and you say, oh, Krishna has given me this work, I have to do this work. And every time you pray to Krishna, please help me, Krishna, or I'm doing this as an offering to you, Krishna, please help. Make sure I take how Brahma is praying before his creative verse, right? That is normally what you're supposed to do in the 10th verse. If you are not able to do even that, you don't have time to do that and all that, then at least give up the results to me. Whatever results you are getting, giving it up to me. You give it up to me. Oh, this is Krishna's. Okay, I will give some portion of that Lakshmi to Krishna. Some portion of my thing, whatever opulence that I'm getting, I will give it to Krishna.
Okay.
You got it? See, for
Yes,
example,
sir.
this Piramal family and Ambani family, there is so much money. So within their complex, they built a very beautiful temple inside the one community thing itself. Very nice opulent temple in Thane. They
In
had
Thane.
that money. They just giving part of their results for helping others to come and worship Krishna. So like that, we can also do in our own little way. This Krishna doesn't differentiate between someone building a big temple and someone just doing a flower. Both are equal for him. Aham bhakti upakrutam, right? So that is why then he is telling that Shreya hi jnanam abhyasa jnana jnana vishite jnana karma phala tyaga tyaga chantir anantaram. So here he is saying the cultivation of knowledge. Better than knowledge, however, is meditation. Better than meditation, renunciation of proofs of action. For best renunciation, when he says this, he's telling in a sequence. You either the renunciation should be your ultimate goal, and that will be preceded by meditation. Means you are meditating on Krishna, some chanting mantras or whatever. And that is preceded by knowledge, because without knowledge, if we simply meditate mechanically, that is not going to work. So when you know the potency of the mantra, you know that how powerful this mantra is, to whom we are offering this mantra, and how powerful is that person, etc., etc. There's no difference between mantra and nama and the nami. When we have all this knowledge, then your meditation will be better, and then better meditation will be pronunciation. So ultimately, the purpose of all our knowledge is to renounce and become more completely devoted to Krishna. That's all. So our bhakti is will be 100% successful only when it is accompanied by knowledge and renunciation. You got it? Jnana and Vairagya.
Okay.
And this Jnana and Vairagya it will have to be implicitly done eventually. It doesn't need to be explicitly done. When you do the devotional service, automatically your knowledge and renunciation will get inculcated in our habits. You got it?
Yes,
So
Prabhuji.
that is why they say that many times we say just take to bhakti, don't worry about jnana and vairagya. Why? Because what is bhakti? When I am doing bhakti, I will do chanting. I will do Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. I will hear Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. I will study Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. As part of my principles, correct? So naturally, the knowledge is coming from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and naturally that when we follow the knowledge, practice that knowledge, naturally detachment follows. Renunciation follows. Again. So that is why Bhagavatam encompasses everything. Srimad Bhagavatam Purana Mamalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahansi Mekam Mamalam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam. Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam. Srimad Bhagavatam gives you Jnana, Vairagya and Bhakti Sahitam. Along with that, Naishkarmyam also. Naishkarmyam means Nishkamya Karma. Doing activity without attachment. Everything is supplied only by this one Shastra called Bhagavad. How fortunate we are to be under the shelter of Prabhupada and reading these scriptures and discussing. Just imagine for a moment, the whole world, so many crores and crores of people are there. How many of them spend some 1 or 1.5 hours to discuss these transcendental subject matter in their life?
Yes.
Right? We are
Prabhuji,
the
that thing
most
is also
selected
there,
few
no?
people. Sorry?
Yes. That thing is also there, no? Bhakti Devi's children, this knowledge and
Exactly.
vairagya.
Exactly. That's what I was coming to. Naturally, what does it mean? Janayati ashu vairagyam jnanam apaitikam. You do bhakti, jnana and vairagya are your janayati means are your children. So jnana and vairagya are the children of bhakti.
Okay. Yes.
That is
Yes,
how
Prabhuji.
the thing is. So you can't say I will only do bhakti, but jnana and vairagya I will not do. It will not happen. It will accompany automatically. Especially when you do Bhagavadiya principles, follow bhakti according to the Bhagavadiya principles, means Bhagavata principles. Those who are following Bhagavata are called Bhagavadiyas. So
Okay.
those who are Bhagavadiyas, for them, it's buy one get two free. You do bhakti and naturally Jnana and Vairagya are free.
Acha. Okay, Prabhuji.
Cannot,
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Yeah,
you
for such
cannot
a
do
elaborative
bhakti
explanation. Yes.
divide of Jnana and Vairagya. That's what I say.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Nice. Anyone else? Any reflections from anyone? So that's why this course is so important because it encompasses the entire instruction of Narada Vyasadeva in this one shloka. Culminates the entire instruction get culminated here. Any comments, questions, suppose? We'll stop here. Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu Mataji. Wonderful discussion today. The Srimad Bhagavatam, we are so blessed and we are fortunate and we should be eternally grateful to Prabhupada for not only translating Bhagavatam, but also creating an opportunity for us to associate with like-minded devotees, creating a community of with a common purpose of understanding and appreciating and relishing this transcendental scripture. It's so amazing, and because of that, his extremely hard work and inconceivable sacrifices, we are sitting here and discussing this. So, really, thanks to each one of you for making this discussion very enriching for Usman. I'll stop here. Krishna will connect very soon on the other side of the Smaran. Krishna Willing, okay? And I'll pronounce Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna Priya. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.